Good morning. Let me just see if this is working properly. I think it is. Good morning, VIPers. So it's not called VIP anymore, isn't it? It hasn't been called VIP for a while. How are we all feeling this morning? It's Monday morning. So this morning's pep talk is going to be all about water and hydration. So first things first, hydration. So a lot of, probably most of the clients I see are struggling a little bit with dehydration. And it's not because they don't drink water. Well, it kind of is. It's because they think they drink water, but in reality, they're not drinking enough water. So hydration first. So when we have issues, health issues like endometriosis, polycystic ovaries, anything of that ilk that we're struggling with, it's really, really important to keep hydrated. Excuse me, as if on cue. It's really, really important to keep hydrated. Even more so than normal. And the reason behind that is because quite often when we have a chronic illness, our body is working even harder than people without a chronic illness just to get by. So if you've got a lot of pain, if you've got a lot of inflammation, if you're having a flare-up, if that's just your normal day, then in order to cope with all of that, your body needs to work that little bit harder. So especially when we're talking about gut issues and gut health, when you throw that into the mix as well, then that just doubles the need for your body to be constantly working. Even when you're relaxing, your body's working harder than other people. Even when you're sleeping, your body's working harder than other people, because your body just can't rejuvenate itself like people without a chronic illness can, because it's dealing with this chronic illness. So when we talk about things like IBS and endometriosis and all of those kind of issues, you'll have heard me talk about stagnation, and you'll have heard me liken the Chinese and the Eastern medicine philosophies to the Nile. It's one of my favourite analogies. But in order for the Nile to flow properly, so in order for our body to be able to rejuvenate itself and heal itself and just function properly, everything needs to be flowing like the Nile. So everything needs to be full of water, everything needs to be hydrated in order to nourish what's going on. So when we're struggling with endometriosis, we've got a lot of stagnation going on, and we've got a lot of the drought that comes with that stagnation as well. So it's massively important to keep hydrated. Now, there are a couple of simple ways that you can tell how hydrated you are. The first one is your wee. So apart from the first wee of the day, which is always a little bit stronger for obvious reasons, your wee during the day should be quite clear. So it should be a really pale yellow colour. And it should be odourless as well. So if it's stronger in colour, or if it has a smell to it, then you're dehydrated. So just up your water intake. And it's massively important as well to sip water through the day. So obviously if you've forgotten to drink, then absolutely downing a pint of water is better than not drinking at all. But the optimum way to keep yourself hydrated is just to keep sipping water through the day. So ordinarily I haven't filled it up yet because there was only enough water in my filter thing for a glass. But ordinarily I have a litre bottle of water, and I fill that up once in the morning, and then I fill that up in the afternoon as well, and I sip water through the day. So that's the optimal way of keeping yourself hydrated. And when I'm talking about drinking, a lot of people will say, oh, it's not just water, you can include tea and coffee, you can include sort of squash and things in that. I personally say to all of my clients, I mean water. I try and get people to reduce the non-water drinks that they're having, so especially caffeinated drinks, because they act as the trigger flare-ups for so many of my clients. So I don't include tea and coffee in what I'm telling my clients or advising my clients is best in terms of hydration. You will see conflicting, and you'll get conflicting advice from nutritionists and from various people. But what I say is water. We're just purely talking about water. Anything, as soon as you add something to water, then you are forcing your body to start digesting, or other mechanisms kick in. The purer the water you drink, the easier it is for your body to take on that water. So if you're already struggling with things like endo and IBS, then the least strain that you can put on your systems, the better, which is why I say just think about water. Don't think about anything else. I absolutely fine. I put slices of lemon in my water. That's great in terms of liver and kidney flushes. So you can put stuff in the water, and I do class that as water, so I'm kind of contradicting myself slightly, but slices of lemon in water, especially in your first water of the day, that's fine. But the purer you can keep the water, the better. So just following that train of thought as well, we come to tap water. So bottled water is fab. Just make sure two things. Make sure firstly where the source of the bottled water is, because some companies are less than scrupulous, and it can actually come from the main system. So just check where the source of the water that you're drinking from the bottle's from. Also in terms of the bottle that the water is in. So steer clear of plastic bottles. Plastic bottles have microplastics in, which can sort of confuse your body when it comes to hormone production. And again, I'm going to talk a little bit about this in a second, but yeah, microplastics mess up or confuse your body in terms of the production of things like estrogen, cortisol, that kind of thing. It kind of interrupts that production, and it's generally not great for your system. So avoid bottles of water. So if you can get plastic bottles of water, so if you can get glass bottles. So make sure your water is from a pure source to begin with, and make sure it is kept in a glass bottle. The easiest thing I have is I have a water filter at home. So I have a 4-litre British Birkfeld filter system. You top up the first reservoir when you go to bed at night, and when you come down in the morning, unless you forget, when you come down in the morning, you have 2 litres there of water, 4 litres of water ready for you to drink. It comes in different sizes. There are smaller ones, there are bigger ones, depending on what you need. But there's different systems out there as well. The ideal is a system in the house that filters water, so you're actually bathing and showering in the filtered water as well, because don't forget, the skin is the biggest organ we have in the body. So if you can use filtered water as sort of to bathe in as well, that's optimum. But they can be quite expensive. So if the budget doesn't allow, then a tabletop filter. So I think my filter was a couple of £100. You can get, and you have to buy the filters as well, the cartridges that go in there. Mine takes 2. They're ceramic. I think you can get carbon as well, but I use the ceramic ones, and they're about £30-35 for a pair, and you need to replace them every 6 to 9 months. You can tell when they need replacing, but yeah, every 6 to 9 months they need replacing. So it's not a massive investment. And the water is incredible. You can taste the difference as soon as you start drinking it, and you notice the difference in your skin and the way you sleep, everything. It impacts on everything. Yes, and you can also get the tiny little ones that you put in the fridge as well. Just check that they are filtering out all the things that you want it to filter out, because the problem with the tap water is that there are a lot of nasties in tap water. Now, obviously, tap water is better than drinking tap water if it hadn't been through all the processing plants, because that would just be disgusting. So it's better than untreated water. However, the way they treat it, it comes with its own issues. So the chemicals that they put in it, the toxins that they put in it, in terms of public health, there are reasons why they do it. However, especially when we have endometriosis, they play with our hormones. So xanoestrogens they're called, and well, there's a few different ones, but they basically, a lot of them inhibit hormone production, a lot of them mimic hormone production, and it just messes with our system. So especially when we're talking about female reproductive system, one of the easiest things you can do is to switch to filtered water. Now, one of the reasons behind, you'll read reports and there's contradictory reports and things, but one of the reasons that they say that this happens is because of the the quality of the water to start with. So there's a lot of women on birth control. There's a lot of medicines that are going into our water system, both in terms of the waste that we're putting into the system. So when we're going to the toilet, we're passing things like antidepressants, contraceptive pills, that kind of thing is going into the system, and the system isn't great at filtering it out, so it treats it, and it doesn't necessarily treat out those things. That is a very small amount. That is in the water, it's a small amount. We've also got people flushing away unused medication, so that's going into the system, so that impacts on that as well. So again, a very small amount. But then we've also got the hormones and things that come with farming. That all goes into the system as well. I mean, that's a whole different thing in terms of what we're eating, but just talking about hydration and the water that we drink, that's got all of these chemicals and fake hormones in them. So, and that don't come out during the filtering process, during the treatment process. So the water that we're turning on, when we're turning on the tap, the water that's coming through is full of these things that disrupt our hormones. As we know, hormones play a massive part in a lot of people's endometriosis. Not everybody, but yeah, a lot of people have that direct impact between their hormone production and their endometriosis. So if that is you, then the water you're drinking is massively important. Even if it isn't you, hormones do still play a little part in endometriosis. So yeah, so even then it's still impacting. So if there's one thing I ask you to do this week, I normally sort of say to you, what's your target? What are your health goals this week? I would love to set a little task for you this week, and that is to go out and buy a water filter. So go with what you need for your lifestyle, go with what you need for your kitchen, go with what you need for your budget, but get the best one that you can that fits with all of those three. And just try it for even just a couple of weeks and just notice the difference. I mean, you'll taste the difference straight away. My other half was very, very skeptical when we moved in together. He obviously just drank tap water and squash the whole time. And he was very skeptical about this water filter. And when he tasted it, he immediately recognised the difference in the quality of the water from the filter. So my task for you this week is to go out, find a water filter. If you need a hand with any of the details or anything, give me a shout. But go out, find a water filter, install a water filter, and for the rest of this week, just drink filtered water. If you can get if you can get one that's big enough as well to cook with. So if you boil eggs, if you're boiling veg, then use filtered water as well for everything. Even if you're having a hot drink, use it in the kettle as well, and you will notice a massive difference. If you can get one fitted to your house system so that you're showering and bathing in one, then that's even better. And do let me know if you do that, which ones you're going with. And if you can get a discount code, do let me know. So that is my pep talk for you this morning. It's all about being hydrated. It's all about how much water you're drinking, and it's all about the sort of water you're drinking. Let me know how you get on. Any questions, give me a shout. Have a fabulous week. I'm here if you need anything at all. Take care.